Look, Paolo bobblehead, you're going to be fine. You're going to be great. You're going to be an all-star. You're going to be all NBA. It's going to happen for you. But, bud, we got to talk about some of the decisions you made and the opportunities missed in Wednesday's game. I'm sorry, Paolo bobblehead. We're going to have to talk about some negative things for the first time in your career. It's time for Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is March 28th, 2024. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the site expert and editor over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. And my friend, if you're watching on YouTube, is Paolo Banchero bobblehead doll. He is not looking forward to today's episode. I can tell you that much. We're gonna criticize our star a little bit because that's what happens when you're the star. You get some criticism sometimes. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, no matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload. We truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. Remember, there's a great Locked On podcast covering every single team in the NBA. Just search for Locked On and the team you're looking for, the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 if your first bet wins, or if your bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started today. There's a lot to get to in the Magic's 101-93 loss to the Warriors. And we're going to get to as much of it as we can. Whatever we don't get to today, we will save for tomorrow. So we'll be repeating some things and diving into some things here. But we got to start, though, with the end of the game. Again, y'all know me. I don't like overemphasizing the end of games, and we're going to make sure we hit the whole breadth of this game. But I do think the end of the game and the decisions the Magic made late in the game are part of the same piece. It's all part of the same puzzle. It's all part of the theme of the episode. The theme of today's episode, of course, is to control what you can control. Shots made, miss or make or miss league, all that stuff. But the Magic have to do a better job controlling what they can control, and that is the quality of their shots, their decision-making, their offensive rebounds, and most especially their free throws. We're going to get to a lot of that coming up here in a moment. But this game did come down to the last 3 minutes. There's another clutch opportunity, another clutch game, and coming off a clutch game Saturday where the Magic executed really well and did not get the results, there were a lot of questions about how the Magic would respond. That was always my thing. How would the Magic respond? How do the Magic respond? And of course, getting to this point, getting to that last moment of the game was a lot of work. The Magic did not play well at all on offense, especially. They're playing from a deficit the whole game, and we'll give credit where credit's due. This team fought really hard to put themselves in a position to win. So how does a game that is a 1-point game with 2:41 to play turn into an 8-point loss? It's all about execution. It's all about decision-making. And it's all about game awareness. And this is an area that, yes, I think the Magic can control. Again, whether you make or miss a shot, if you lose a game because you make or miss a shot, I'm cool with that. Saturday's loss to the Kings, the foul was frustrating, but the Magic executed exceptionally well down the stretch to give themselves a chance to win that game. The one thing Orlando really has not done this year, and please correct me if I'm wrong, find me a place where it happened. The Magic, the New York game, the game at New York in the Garden was probably the best example of this. The Magic have not won a lot of games this year where they're trailing heading into clutch time, heading into winning time. That's kind of not how this team is built. This team is built to defend. But late in the game on Wednesday, the Magic got themselves down 1. They put themselves in a really good position to win the game, trusting their defense to get the job done. And then they made a series of poor decisions that prevented them from finally getting over the hump and stealing this win. And that was what it would have been. It would have been stealing this win with the way that they played offensively for most of the night and their shot making for most of the night. With the Magic down by 1 point, Paolo Banchero made a great decision here. I'm going to be critical of Paolo here in a minute, but he made a great decision. Got the ball in around the elbow, drew 2 to the ball, found Jalen Suggs cutting underneath the basket. Suggs had a chance for the layup. Golden State did a very good job defending the paint, but kicked it out to a red-hot Cole Anthony in the corner. Only problem, out of time on the shot clock. Cole didn't even get the shot off. That's a problem. We could talk about who should be taking that last shot and what the decision should be, but you got to get a shot up. And the Magic missed an opportunity to get a shot up there. So the Magic are down 1. They end up down 3 after an Andrew Wiggins bucket because Andrew Wiggins had a very good game with 23 points on the evening. But the Magic are still down 3. And what happens? Paolo Banchero hits a pull-up three-pointer early in the shot clock. Just an awful shot. Like I said earlier this week, we do want Paolo to make these decisions. We do want Paolo Banchero ultimately to make the decisions. Your star player has to be the decision maker. I have no problem with the ball in Paolo's hands. I have no problem with him taking shots. I have no problem with him taking difficult shots. But you have to know time and score, and you have to know situation. And again, this is part of a larger problem in this game. So I'm using Paolo to highlight a bigger issue. But in a game where the Magic are struggling to shoot from 3, in a game where Paolo Banchero himself is 1 for 6 from 3 at that juncture, in a game where the Magic have found their most success and know that their identity is getting to the basket, why are you settling for 3? Why? Down 3, I get it. Down 3, about a minute to play here? Let me get the actual stat here. He took that shot with 1:31 to play. 91 seconds. With the Magic's defense, they should feel good enough that if they get a quick 2 or they get a bat, that the point of any late game possession is to get a good shot. And instead, Paolo tried to be the hero. Look, Paolo, if you're listening. Paolo, look, we know that you can hit big shots. We know that you will hit the big basket. We know all of that about you, Paolo, okay? He's nodding if you're listening on the radio. But just like everything else, it's about singles. It's not about hitting the home run. You drive home the runs by getting guys on base. That's the Moneyball way, right? I know it's it's MLB opening days today. My baseball strategy, my baseball analogies are and metaphors are really stretched. But Paolo, you got to make the right play. It's always about making the right play. And now he's staring at me angry. But that's what was missing. And look, you're going up against Steph Curry. You know he's going to make the right play. And he did that, making a tough hook shot over the defense. Magic get the ball back on the next possession, down by 5 now. Paolo, I forget who had the ball, but the Magic ended up into a side pick and roll with Paolo and Franz in the corner. There was really no way out. He hot potatoes it to Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony has to take a tough shot and ends up a 24-second shot clock violation as well, or he ends up airballing that shot. And then Steph Curry puts the Magic to sleep with 33 seconds left, nailing a 3. This is the truth of it then. I'm not, Paolo did not have a good game. We'll do the box score here in a minute. But Paolo, 15 points, 5 for 17 shooting, 4 for 7 from the line. Keep that in mind. 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 turnovers. This was not a good game from Paolo Banchero. And the Magic can survive bad games. They can survive bad shooting games. Their defense is good enough. They gave up 101 points to the Golden State Warriors. They defended Steph Curry really well. He was 6 for 18, 3 for 8 from 3. The Magic had an excellent game plan. There were holes there. We'll talk about them a little bit later on. But the Magic did a really good job in a lot of ways. A lot to be proud of. A lot to be happy with from what the Magic played. But, however, there is a lot to be desired there too. And it's all about this late game decision making. In a game where the Magic were struggling offensively, they needed patience. They needed precision. They needed to just execute. Get a good shot. Get one at the basket if you have to. Instead, everything felt rushed. It felt like the Magic were trying to get it all back in one swoop after working so methodically to cut into the deficit. They trailed by as much as 17, trailed by 16 after one quarter, after an 11-point first quarter. After they worked so methodically to give themselves this chance to take the lead, their star player, frankly, made some mistakes that cost them. Look, I don't want to sit here and be too critical because I still think the Magic are in a growing phase. As much as we want them to win, as much as we want them to get as high a seed as they can, and they should do that, and we should hold them to that. I'm trying to hold them to that. There's still a bigger picture to be worried about. And Paolo is going to look at this tape tomorrow, and he's going to learn. And if there's one thing I think we can believe about this team, and one thing that I believe about this team, is that they learn really well. They take these lessons to heart really, really well. So I'm not concerned that this is something that's going to linger. And I would continue to argue and press that how you respond to this is so much more important than the loss itself. But we're also in the results business. You know, the Magic lost a game on the Knicks. Everyone else lost, thankfully, tonight. But the Magic lost a game on the Knicks. They're now 2 games back of New York for third. They're a game back of Cleveland or a game and a half back of Cleveland, I believe, for fourth. These games matter. And to me, at least, the Magic dropped the ball here. And it's not just because of this late game execution. But as Jamal Mosley always says, no game ever comes down to a final possession. But that late game execution is a part of a bigger story that needs to be told about this game. We'll talk about what the Magic didn't control coming up here in just a moment. But first, it's time for a quick word from our friends over at Nissan. Are you the kind of driver who likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Well, our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. The 2024 Nissan Rogue is perfect for city drives and great escapes. With class-exclusive Google built in, it's your always updating assistant to call on for almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store are built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. Nissan's incredible lineup also includes the 2024 Nissan Armada. It will change what you expect from a full-size SUV. Picture a rugged 4x4 that can seat up to 8 in first-class luxury and style. Tow bigger and explore further in the 2024 Armada. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Go shop at nissanusa.com. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is also brought to you by our friends over at Amazon Fire TV. We're all looking for the best place to watch sports, and there is no better destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis, than Amazon Fire TV. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or the college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences too. Fire TV channels let you dive into all of the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date on all the latest in the world of sports. March Madness, NBA, MLB, and lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos too. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this. Learn more at visit www.amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. We want to thank you for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. Be sure to check out the Locked On Sports Day 24/7 streaming channel. If you're sitting at home, working from home, watching Fox Sports or ESPN on TV all day, you probably have to hit the mute button at some point because all they do on those channels is shout. It stinks. It's terrible. So make the switch to Locked On Sports Today. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed to you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channel app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Like I said, I want to highlight the late game stuff because, look, we are in the winning business now. It's strange. I know it's weird. We are in the winning business. Wins matter. Losses matter. The Magic lost a game on the Knicks. They're fortunate the Heat lost. They're fortunate the Pacers lost. They're fortunate the Sixers lost. They're fortunate the Cavs lost. They're fortunate a lot of teams in their cohort lost and are losing right now. So they can afford some losses. But that's also opportunities missed. And that's kind of the bigger point right now. Is as much as we want to highlight the late game stuff, and look, there were problems late game. I just mentioned them. They are part of the bigger piece of the puzzle. And that bigger piece of the puzzle is that the Magic left one on the board. I want to start here by saying all credit to the Golden State Warriors. They played a good game. They forced a lot of mistakes. They were a tough team, and they are a good team. And no one disrespects the Golden State Warriors here. If you want their perspective, I know they talked about a gritty win tonight. Check out Locked On Warriors. They're very happy, although upset that the Rockets won. That the Warriors needed this win too. But for me and for the Magic, I think there's a feeling that the Magic left one on the board. That the Magic had an opportunity to improve. They had an opportunity to take a really important step forward. And they had an opportunity to win this game, and they let it slip through their fingers. You hear coaches talk about this all the time. It's a cliche, but it's worth repeating. You got to control what you can control. Whether a shot goes in or not, it's somewhat in your control, but make or miss league. It's the cliche. We could go with that cliche too. But you still got to do the things that are going to eventually lead you to win games. The little hidden possessions, little hidden battles that aren't necessarily about the other team and what they're doing. Again, I'm going to give credit to the Warriors. They played well. But Orlando missed 10 free throws. They were 11 for 21 from the foul line. In an 8-point game, in a game that was a 1-point game with 2:41 to play, 10 missed free throws is a big deal. The Magic have led the league in free throw rate for most of the year. They get to the foul line, but they're in the bottom half of the league in free throw percentage. They have had a lot of these games that would have been blowouts or potentially blowouts if they made their free throws. Think about that Pistons win that Paolo hit the game-winning shot for. As fun as that was, didn't need it, shouldn't have needed it. Paolo missed 2 big free throws late in that game too, by the way. This game, the Magic missed 5 of these 10, or 6 of these 10, I believe, 5 of 11 in the first quarter. In a quarter where the Magic scored only 11 points and shot 3 for 22. And they got good looks. They just missed shots. You can live with that. They left 6 points on the board. And that may not seem like a lot. But you make some free throws. You make your free throws early in that game. And all of a sudden, maybe you relax a little bit. All of a sudden, maybe that next shot feels a little easier. You're not pressing for that next shot. This is something the Magic can control and something they've got to figure out. They've got to make free throws. They're going to lose a playoff game because they missed free throws. They lost Wednesday's game because they missed free throws. That's unacceptable. And that has nothing to do with the defense. The Warriors cannot defend your free throws. They're free. And the Magic gave them away. Again, Paolo was 4 for 7 at 3 of the 10. 3 of the 10 misses. Wendell Carter 1 for 3. Jalen Suggs 1 for 2. Only Franz Wagner was perfect from the foul line at 2 for 2. Anthony Black missed 2. Jonathan Isaac missed 1. Cole Anthony. if you split your free throws, I think free throws have a 1.75 expected points per possession. If you're splitting your free throws, you are losing. And that's what happened in this game. But it wasn't just about the free throws. It was the turnovers. 11 turnovers for 19 points. Those kind of mistakes keep you at arm's length. The Magic never, once the Magic fell behind in the first quarter, they never caught up, but they kept making runs. Like, give this team all the credit in the world for their resiliency. They shot really poorly for most of this game. Cole Anthony was really the only player that had anything going, and they stayed in the game. Look, you may disagree with me on this. The Magic are clearly able to win games like this. They have had a lot of games where they don't shoot well and they stay in it. But when you don't shoot well, all of these things that you're not taking care of become more important. That's the message. That's the lesson here. The more you do these things, the more you struggle offensively, the more your mistakes get magnified. You don't have shooting to cover it up. And this team could survive missing shots. But they can't survive missing shots and missing free throws. They can't survive because free throws are how they make up the difference with three-pointers. They get to the line more times than you will, and that's how they make up not hitting as many threes. You can't miss shots and turn the ball over. If you miss shots and you're turning the ball over, you're typically, not allowing your defense to get set. The Magic have been good at preventing points off turnovers, but you're giving away points to a really good offensive team in Golden State. Orlando had a 107.4 defensive rating this game. They played a great defensive game. But it didn't matter because they made all these mistakes. And then you can't give up offensive rebounds. The Magic gave up 12 offensive rebounds for 18 second chance points. 18 second chance points to this team, a relatively small Golden State team. Trace Jackson Davis, Kevin Looney at center, but they got burned by Andrew Wiggins, by Gary Payton II. At every turn, the Warriors were first to every 50-50 ball and long rebound. For this Magic team especially, that cannot happen. They do not have the talent, especially the offensive talent, to get outworked and out-hustled. And look, they're 50-50 balls for a reason. Sometimes the coin doesn't flip your way, but the Magic got beat a lot to those. And yet the Magic still had their chances to win. But this is the bottom line. That door stayed open. Their good defense got erased because they didn't take care of their business. They didn't take care of what they can control. And as we get closer and closer to the playoffs, this is the stuff that's important. This is the stuff that actually wins you games. It isn't that big late game shot or that clutch basket. It's the offensive rebound that gives you that second chance at it. It's the turnover you force to get that extra possession. It's the free throws you make that give you that extra cushion, that prevent the other team from making a crazy comeback. It is still free throw awareness month, folks. This stuff feels very small, but it adds up. And when you look at this game Wednesday, that's what added up. When you look at this game Wednesday, all of these pieces added up to a Magic loss, to a loss where the Magic were scrambling to get back in the game. And look, they were good enough to get back in the game. They were good enough to do that. They were. They're good enough to win these games. We'll talk tomorrow about the Magic's record and the Magic's play against quality opponents because that's the next big hurdle they have to get over. But they're good enough to win these games, kids. They're good enough. I said this yesterday. I will repeat it today. There is not a game left on the Magic schedule outside of that game at Milwaukee because of the stupid back-to-back. There's not a game left on the Magic schedule that the Magic should not feel like they can win if they take care of their business. And that includes Milwaukee. If the Magic play with the intensity and attention to detail, they are capable of playing. They take care of these things. They make their free throws. They rebound. They don't turn the ball over. They can win every game left on their schedule. There are 10 games left. 10 games left. They could not easily. They could go 10-0. We are expecting them to go 6-4. 6-4 gets them to 48 wins. There's no reason to expect them not to be 6-4 or 7-3 over the last 10 games of the season. I'm sorry. They are that good. I believe in this team. Is that good enough to get them to 4? I don't know. But I believe in this team and what they're capable of doing. But it starts with controlling what they can control. And that's what cost them against the Warriors on Wednesday. We'll go through the final box score because we have to. Sorry, Paolo Bobblehead. We're going to have to go through it. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our sponsor, BetterHelp. Sometimes we all need the opportunity to get something off our chest. Big or small, certain things can really start to get to you. So it's important to let that out, especially to someone who is unbiased in your life. So today I want to say that, I hear you. I see you. I want to say that sometimes it's okay to be a little angry. I'm a little upset about this game. You can tell I usually don't go hard at people. I'm usually pretty understanding. And, I like to remind people that it's one loss, not the end of the world. But it's okay to be a little angry sometimes. It's okay to let that out in a constructive way. You might even be thinking about the same thing this week. So this is what you have to do. Sometimes you have to find the right person to listen and give you the proper perspective to get better and deal with those emotions better. Therapy can be different for everyone. Most of us have bigger problems in our favorite sports team, and it's important to get things off your chest every once in a while. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be flexible and suited to your schedule. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Okay, let's run through the final box scores. The Orlando Magic fall to the Golden State Warriors 101-93, breaking one of my favorite win streaks. The Magic had beaten the Warriors every year at Kia Center since 2019, maybe 2018, the 2018 season. So a really nice, unfortunately that streak is over. Some fun wins in that process. This was a rough game, but in a good way. I think honestly, the Magic don't mind games being played like this. And I think especially after the first quarter and they started hitting some shots because they really struggled. 11 points, 3 for 22 shooting, 0 for 8 from 3, 5 for 11 from the foul line in the first quarter. Once the Magic started hitting some shots, their defense really locked in. I thought their defense was really good. They did as good of a job as I've seen a team play against Steph Curry in a very, very long time. Curry was 6 for 18, 3 for 8 from 3, 2 for 2 from the foul line, kept him off the foul line. Did have 10 assists. We'll get to that in a minute. 17 points. I thought they did a good job chasing him off the three-point line, making sure he didn't have space to step back, didn't really have space to go anywhere, and get his shot off. Jalen Suggs did a good job kind of staying in his space and just did a good job crowding him. I thought Wendell Carter did a really good job pressing him and getting up into him and hedging him really hard to prevent him from pulling up around screens. The Magic had a really good game plan to get the ball out of Steph Curry's hands. Now, he did have 10 assists, and part of that problem was the Magic's rotations behind him weren't that great. There was a lot of rough moments for the team where they'd empty side like Kevon Looney or Jason, sorry, I'm blanking on his name, Trace Jackson Davis, and he'd be able to get pick and rolls. The low man was just really late because the Warriors do stretch you out with all the shooters, whether it was Paolo, whether it was Jonathan Isaac, whoever it was. There's a lot of times where the low man was late. And because the Magic are over shifting to cover for Steph, there's a lot of open space on the weak side. That's where Golden State got some threes. That's where Golden State found lanes to attack the offensive glass. Steph Curry still had a nice game because even though he didn't score, and I thought the Magic did a good job defensively on him, executing their game plan, he still had this massive effect on the game. And look, Orlando did good things. Again, I don't want to put that down. Orlando still played really well defensively. But in key moments, guys would get free to the basket. There'd be just a rotation that was a hair late. Paolo did not play a good defensive game. Like he was just a step late on everything. It was just like running in mud sometimes on both ends. And so, the Magic did do well defensively overall. But again, because the offense isn't playing as well, every basket felt big. When you're playing a game that's just low scoring and the slow, every basket feels big because you don't feel like you can make it up. And look, the Magic ended up trading baskets. They scored 56 points in the second half. They both teams scored 56 points in the second half. They did fine at the end of the day. A bad first quarter put them in the hole, and that really was a big portion of this game. But they didn't play great defense in the first quarter. Like there were some good moments defensively, but you could see heads drop. You could see the lack of shot making really hurt them. And again, that just ups the pressure to be more precise and be better throughout the game. Orlando had a good defensive game. I don't want it to sound like they didn't, but there's a lot of things that the Magic had to improve on and be better at that they weren't necessarily better at throughout the course of the game. And again, Golden State found like little seams to get through. Look, Golden State shoots 44.4% from the floor. They shoot 10 for 34 from three, 11 for 13 from the foul line. Magic didn't put them on the line. They didn't give up a ton of threes. Golden State shoots a ton of threes. If the Magic shot a reasonable percentage, if the Magic made their free throws, this is a win and maybe a comfortable win. Golden State was comfortable playing grimy. Orlando was comfortable playing grimy. And, at the end of the day, it came down to who's going to make shots. And you're always going to bet on Golden State for that. Because, again, it just came down to, okay, who's going to beat the good defense? And that's what happened. Orlando's led in scoring by Cole Anthony off the bench. 26 points, 10 for 17 shooting, 5 for 8 from 3, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. A really excellent game from Cole Anthony. Like, no one else was playing with a ton of energy. In fact, coming into the second quarter, coming into really the end of the first and into the second quarter, Cole Anthony and Jonathan Isaac changed the game. Jonathan Isaac had 9 points, 3 for 5 shooting, 2 for 3 from 3, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks, and a steal. Really nice game from Jonathan Isaac too, but Cole Anthony kept that momentum going throughout the whole game. He got to the paint, hit those nice little floaters that he hits, hit threes, shot threes confidently, hit contested threes. The Magic needed an offensive spark, and Cole Anthony stabilized this team, and the Magic just kept feeding him because they had nowhere else to go. You look at the Magic's top guys. Paolo Banchero, 15 points, 5 for 17 shooting, 1 for 7 from 3, 4 for 7 from the foul line. Franz Wagner, 14 points, 6 for 14 shooting, missed both of his three-pointers, 2 for 2 from the foul line, 5 rebounds for him. Paolo had 8 rebounds and 5 assists as well as 4 turnovers. They both really struggled early in the game, and it wasn't for a lack of good shots. Orlando was 2 for 11, I believe, in the paint in the first quarter. They ended up 24 for 47, 48 points. So that's a low number for them. 24 for 47, shooting slightly above 50%, so a little bit lower on that end. They missed a lot of layups, kids. Like, they missed a lot of layups. They got to the basket. They finished around. They just couldn't finish around the rim, and it's just a lot of shots rolling over, and just everything just felt like a step off. And again, credit to Golden State. Like, Trace Jackson Davis was a good challenger at the rim. Gary Payton Jr. had three steals and a block, just packed a couple shots off the backboard. He definitely had 2 blocks. I don't think he had just one. Just did a lot of really good things around the basket. Golden State swarmed really, really well and just made it hard. Like, Paolo and Franz were always under pressure, always had a man on them, and just could not find their rhythm throughout the course of the game. And that's going to be a big challenge for them overall. Not a lot of other scores. No other scores in double figures. Jalen Suggs, just 1 for 7, 4 points. So second straight bad shooting game for Jalen Suggs. He was 1 for 5 from 3. Again, just getting good looks. His defense, though, on Steph Curry, like individual defense on Steph Curry, just excellent. About as well as you could do. Was really disciplined. The whole Magic, again, I thought the Magic did a good job on Steph Curry and had a good game plan. This didn't all coalesce perfectly at times. Wendell Carter, 7 points, 3 for 7 shooting, 6 rebounds, 2 steals. I didn't think Wendell Carter played poorly. I see a lot of criticism toward him on social media. He is your Rorschach test. You see what you want to see in him. I still think Wendell Carter is very, very valuable for this team. I agree he needs to be a little bit more consistent on offense. He's not an above the rim center, and I do think that is ultimately a problem, but I don't think it's a problem for now. We'll see what it looks like in the playoffs, of course. But I thought Carter defensively was really strong for most of the game. Did his part to defend Steph Curry too. And that's one of the reasons why the Magic really do like him, because he can step out on the perimeter and help with Steph Curry when the time calls for him. Markelle Fultz got the start for Gary Harris, 4 points, 2 for 5 shooting. Not a lot going on with Fultz. We all know the deal. Like, teams are kind of leaving him open, but he didn't hurt the team that much in this game, in my estimation. Golden State was overloading the strong side anyway. They're going to dare the Magic shoot, and they didn't. And they didn't get the shots that they got against New Orleans or Sacramento. So that ended up being part of the issue. Again, just Mo Wagner had a nice peak, 6 points. Anthony Blackett, Mo Wagner, 6 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists. Just again, someone who can just get the offense unstuck. The offense was just so stuck. Magic shoot 42.4% from the floor, 10 for 32 from 3, 11 for 21 from the line. Did have 10 offensive rebounds. So again, Magic were aggressive there too. But again, just couldn't get themselves moving the way that they need to get themselves moving. And so that's ultimately what costs you the game is you just can't execute your offense consistently. The Orlando Magic fall to the Golden State Warriors 101-93. They are 42-30 on the season. They take on the LA Clippers next. Just like we said yesterday, Magic need to split these 4 games. They're now down 2-1. Got to get that win against the Clippers. Must win against the Clippers, in my opinion. Got to get that win. Get back on the winning foot. Ensure that you end this homestand 6-2 as best you can. 5-3 isn't terrible, but 6-2 would be really making a statement and building momentum for these difficult final 7 games. We'll get to those later on as well. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at @PhilipRR_OMD. Subscribe to the podcast and Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all of them on podcasts to your podcast and listening device. You can find us as well on YouTube. Just search for Locked On Magic. You can also check me out for the latest on the Orlando Magic. Check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us there on Twitter at @OMagicDaily. And be sure also check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, for extra Orlando Magic content. You can find that at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. Now that you've done this to us, be sure to check out Locked On Sports Today, the 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now available on Amazon Fire TV and the Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic. This has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.